lost their last 2 there. Right, this is how we stand ahead of the North London derby in the Manchester United game on Monday night at Everton, with Liverpool staying in 6th place but opening up a gap over Brentford, 5 points there, and now level on points with Manchester United and Chelsea. Jamie Carragher rubbing his hands together with glee. Keeping an eye on Aston Villa as well, who have a 6-point advantage in that race for Champions League football. Fulham into the top half of the table as well. Sunderland slipping to 12th. Palace there in 13th. After beating Wolves by 1-0. They're now 10 points clear of the bottom 3. And defeat for Nottingham Forest leaves them in 17th. 2 points clear of the bottom 3, with still one big game to come on this Super Sunday.
Alexis, can you sum up your feelings at the end of that? An incredible finish.
Yeah, mixed feelings, to be honest. I love scoring, I love winning. So in that sense, yes, I think it's a really good day. But then, on the other hand, I don't think we play very well. So there's plenty of things that we need to improve. But it's always nicer when you win.
Let's start with the first one that went in but was disallowed. Did that hit your elbow?
It did, but I feel like it's a bit harsh because it does hit my back as well. So it's a bit of both. But I understand the rules. I just think that in football that's very harsh. But I think it was a fair decision.
Did it feel like the moment had gone then?
Sorry?
Did it feel as if the moment had gone, that was your chance? Did you think you'd get another?
No, I thought I was going to get another one. Even before a throw-in, I told Hugo that this was going to be our goal, our situation. And after that, I don't know if it was on that one or the next one, but I had another opportunity, and yeah, glad that I went in.
Yeah, incredible finish. Darren, let's first of all have a look at the one that was chalked up. Whether it hit his back or his elbow is a bit of a discussion point. He seems to accept it. But first of all, it was a great chance, actually, for Ekitike, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was, yeah. And Rio Gamoa done really well. I mean, he changed the game, as Jamie said, when he came on. And he just leaves it in a really nice area. But from there, Ekitike, I know it's slightly behind him. He has to score. Because the pace on the ball, it's there. It then pops to McAllister. And I think it's harsh because, yes, it does strike his arm. But he's not looking at the ball. His arms are next to his body. I mean, by the letter of the law, it should be disallowed, but I still feel it's harsh.
Yeah, they did have a good long look at it, and if they can see that it has hit the arm, then they will disallow it, whether, of course, he's accident or not. So that was a big moment, and he thought maybe the chance was gone. Everyone thought maybe the chance had gone, apart from McAllister, who was convinced something else would happen, Jamie.
So he says, yeah, but I mean, I thought the throw-in was going to go in the box. Nottingham Forest had dealt with that really well. So Szoboszlai does brilliant here, just to get half a yard, and that's a wonderful ball into the box. And think with Van Dijk, actually, I think Van Dijk's header is actually almost not trying to score, keep it alive, put it in a danger area. Now, I wasn't sure, whether it was Ekitike's foot or Lorena there just behind Virgil van Dijk. As I said, the lines don't get it wrong, whether they could actually see Olerena's foot there at the back post, but it was a really tight one. But I think Van Dijk does really well because it doesn't look like a header, but he's trying to score. There's
the Olarena boot, which is apparently playing Virgil van Dijk onside there. But Forest get themselves in a real tangle there, don't they, Darren, as well?
Do you know what they do? And I mean, it's a good save, but I think if Morelo's not there, I do think Ortega just falls on it, gets in his arms, and then they all go up the pitch. But the fact that there's a bit of chaos because Morelo's there, Ortega's there, that's why it pops out. And then again, McAllister doing what he should do, pop up in the 6-yard box and puts it in the empty net.
One of the 3 points are the most important thing, I imagine. But was there an element of fortune today?
Yeah, of course. If you score in the last minute, there's always an element of luck. But so many times this season, we've experienced the opposite. I don't mean conceding in the last minute, which happened as well. But so many times this season, we've deserved more than we got. Now, today, I think a draw would have been a fairer result than a win for us.
The first half looked particularly difficult for you. Why was that? Was it just a Florian injury, or was it more to it than that?
No, I hope and assume there's more into it than that, because if we rely on one player, then things are not good, and that's also not the situation because we've missed players throughout the whole season. So another miss for us that Florian couldn't play because he's in a really good form. But someone else have to do the job. I think the first half was mainly difficult because Forest plays so well, and they have good players. So I said before the game, surprised about their league position, and after the game, I'm even more surprised.
You changed Jones and Szoboszlai's positioning in the game. What were you looking to change in that first period?
Now to get a little bit more control over their midfield, because I think, I just highlighted how well they played, but we lost every ball. We could not keep the ball for 1 second. If we went long, we lost the duel. We lost a lot of second balls. So the only part of our game that went well was defending inside the box. So I think I saw players throwing themselves in front of balls. We had to defend a lot of set pieces. And that's what we did well. And then you stay in the game. That's what we did. And in the second half, I saw a completely different game. In the second half, I think we took over the game, maybe because they played on first day. That for the first time this season was an advantage for us. That the team who we faced played and we were off this week. So you could see that maybe in the second half when we started to play much better, created our chances, couldn't score. Still the extra time when we scored twice, and I thought with all that's been happening this season, I would not even be surprised if both goals are disallowed. But maybe fortune has changed finally.
Tell us about Rio Ungamoa's impact as well from the bench.
No, he had the first goal that was disallowed was mainly because of him, because he took a 1v1 on. And a great cross on the head of Hugo Ekitike, which is normally you would expect that to be a goal. Especially for Hugo because he's such a good finisher. But ball came back from the goalkeeper and then, as we know, the goal got disallowed. So a good action of him, good 1v1. Which is what this game needed. It was either for us a set piece or a moment like this, and that's also why I brought him on. And first off the left, where he was not a lot of involvement, and then off the right, where he had that good action.
Table and maybe the sort of result that you look back on come the end of the season and think that was crucial to us getting into the Champions League. Liverpool not great, but they found a way to get the job done.
Yeah, right at the very end. And as we were watching it, you said that late goals, Liverpool are prone to that. You got a feel for Nottingham Forest. I thought they put on a fantastic display, good performance. Maybe deserved a win, never mind a draw. But it was that man McAllister coming up with the vital goal at the end, having one disallowed. And you're absolutely right. It's games like that probably can turn the end of season run in their favour, because it wasn't great. Come away with the 3 points at a tough place to go. Nottingham Forest are really struggling at the moment. They're fighting for their lives, and that could really put them on a little mini run to get them into the Champions League.
It's interesting that we talked about lack of the forward options. We wait to see how long that injury might be for Florian Wirtz, who had to pull out in the warm-up. No Alexander Isak. And although he didn't score, Ekitike is involved in the two big moments, the goal that's disallowed and the goal that counts for McAllister.
And that's what you want. Look, if you're not scoring, you want to be involved in the big moments. And he was. Maybe he should have scored the initial header in the first one. He didn't, but he was involved. I think Salah's a little bit of disappointment at the moment for them. I think, as we heard,
9 games in the Premier League without a goal.
Biggest goal drought that he's had in the Premier League. I think he'll be looking to end that. If Isak comes back, look, if this all happens in the next few weeks, it all starts to piece together. If Salah starts getting back on form as well, Ekitike, who's their top goal scorer, starts scoring a few goals. They've got players that can win games, and we've seen that today. If it wasn't the forward, it was McAllister arriving. If it's not McAllister, Szoboszlai, he's won games for them recently. They've got players that can win the game for them. They just need to combine it and put it all together.
If we can just have a look again at the top of that Premier League table, Aston Villa on 51 and the three below them all on 45. United with that game in hand. All four of those clubs all have to play each other between now and the end of the season. Where does the balance of power lie?
Well, it still lies with Aston Villa. Of course, they've got the points on the board, and that's always the best. But look, it's made for a really exciting end of the season. Look, you look at the top two as well, 2 points in it. They're playing in a minute. I'm really looking forward to the final, and it could be any one of those six. And by the way, you wouldn't have said Manchester United would have been up in there at the start of the season. I certainly wouldn't. So credit to what they're doing there as well.
Did you think that Manchester United not having any other competition to worry about could be significant? You wonder if there is a moment where Villa might start to prioritise the Europa League. Chelsea still in the FA Cup and the Champions League, the same for Liverpool.
Yeah, look, Aston Villa can afford to a certain extent to prioritise Europa League because they've got the points on the board. There are a few until they start catching up. That Villa are a fantastic side, obviously got the draw yesterday, but it's definitely going to help Manchester United only having one game to concentrate on when the rest of them are in such big competitions. But they've all got fantastic squads. You want to be playing these big competitions, so I don't think it's going to be too much of a hindrance to the rest of them.
What about down at the bottom of the table then? As I said, Nottingham Forest just 2 points above the bottom three. Now, 8 o'clock yesterday evening, you might have thought that's an opportunity missed for West Ham at home to Bournemouth. Does it still feel the same, or do you feel, as is the fact, that they are a point closer than they were at the start of the weekend?
Look, every point matters at this stage, and look, they'd have been disappointed not to get all three. I think West Ham have got enough. I think Nottingham Forest have got a really tough run of fixtures. And make no mistake about it, my team, Tottenham Hotspur, are in a relegation battle. Look, they could put a real dent into Arsenal's title hopes in the next 5-10 minutes. They're in a relegation battle, and I'm really concerned. But I think they've got enough. I think they'll have enough. It's out of West Ham and Nottingham Forest. It's going to be one of the final one of the three with Burnley and Wolves. And I'm concerned for Nottingham Forest. When you put on a performance like that and you still don't get any points, it must be really frustrating.
Just finally then, before we let you go, as you said, you are a Tottenham fan at heart as we see the teams in the tunnel in North London. Can Igor Tudor make a positive start as head coach today and pick up something?
Look, a couple of weeks back, I see this fixture with Thomas Frank in charge, and I thought this is going to be an annihilation. I think a lot of Spurs fans felt that, like the first leg, the first game, that was embarrassing at the Emirates. Who knows what's going to happen now? Manager bounce. They don't want to be playing Spurs with an unknown entity in management and what's going to happen in terms of the team, how they're going to react. They are predictably better than a lot of teams, Arsenal, and that might be shown again today. But look, as Spurs supporters, it's been a terrible season in the league. Just to have a hope before this game kicks off that we could put a dent into Arsenal's title challenge is something that all supporters will want to see. And hopefully the players react in the right way today.
Victory over the Gunners today in the North London derby. We're awaiting our first goal of the day in the Premier League. 0-0 in the 3 games so far, though. Rockadari's had a penalty saved by Dean Henderson for Wolves. And a late Liverpool change at the City ground, which seems to have had a big impact on the way they've gone about things. At least that's the excuse I'm making for them, Jamie. Curtis Jones coming into the starting lineup really late for Florian Wirtz.
He's come in really late and he's really struggled, and I'll be surprised if he comes out for the second half, and being totally honest. But 16 seconds into the game. Now, yes, you might say he's a slow starter, but when Curtis Jones is making mistakes in midfield, it's very similar to that. So it's not a new thing with Curtis Jones. He takes too long on the ball. I don't think he'll ever get that out of his game. He needs to be a lot quicker and a lot sharper, and that's always been his biggest problem. That's 3 minutes in, and Liverpool were having major problems very early in the game, and it hasn't subsided at all. Brilliant from the goalkeeper there, but Liverpool have been absolutely monstered physically. This team can't cope when a game is end-to-end in the Premier League. That's why they look a decent team in the Champions League. But this game, Nottingham Forest have been absolutely fantastic. To play Thursday night and pick exactly the same team and then put in a performance like this, but they've really let themselves down, Nottingham Forest, by not being in front. They should have made a lot more from the opportunities that they've had.
Sorry, Jamie, but strangely, they've had 50 shots for us since they last scored a goal in the Premier League. Will they be going in at half-time thinking, yes, I'm pleased with how they've gone about it against Liverpool, but still worried because they haven't managed to find the net?
Yeah, absolutely. I think for all the kind of dominance that first half, they haven't tested the goalkeeper enough. I think we saw the good save there from Hudson-Odoi, from Alisson, but other than that, they've got into really good areas, but it's either the final cross or the final pass, or even just hitting the target in terms of having an effort on goal. So I think they'll be happy with the performance, but in terms of where Liverpool, I think, have been at their poorest, for Nottingham Forest, you've got to make the keeper work, and they haven't done that, so that's probably the one disappointment from that first half.
There's been some horror shows from Liverpool this season in games. That's right there, right up at the top of the list.
Look at that. They're not looking good. They're in a good place right now. If you see how they're playing, and obviously between Etikite and Mohamed Salah, they are not getting on well. The time that they have to pass the ball, there is always like a second or 2 seconds late. And when you come to this level, it's already too late. And Liverpool are struggling, but these chances for them also, Wolverhampton, they have to start taking them. If you want to beat Liverpool at home, you have to start taking chances.
Tim mentioned Forest press there. That's caused Liverpool an issue in that first half.
It has, but wow, Liverpool have been wasteful still. I mean, yes, it can have an effect, and Tim's right, but you know, when you got the ball in safe possession and, you know, misplaced passes, lack of energy. Do you know what? Lack of angles as well. I never thought I'd say it, but, you know, I look at this left-hand side, particularly Carragher. I mean, half the time he doesn't want the ball. In this situation, where he's jogging into... He can be open and not marked, and he jogs into places to mark himself sometimes. I don't think he wants the ball. I think he's really lacking in confidence. And then even when Liverpool do get a good moment like this, Ekitike reading the pass, wriggling free, couple of options now, and just takes that extra touch too many. I mean, Mo Salah got it in on the right-hand side. We'll see that after this one. Gakpo, I mean, how many times he just knocks it in with his right foot? I rarely see him go down on his left foot. And again, talking of weak feet, or a weak foot, Mo Salah on his right foot, crossing the ball. That's an opportunity. I mean, Gakpo at the back post is all alone. So, really poor from Liverpool. I mean, and that sums it up basically, doesn't it, in terms of advantage Nottingham Forest. Listen, we're not getting carried away with Nottingham Forest performances just yet, but they were marginally better, and that's what that shows.